Okay, well, it's April the 14th, Saturday. Last 2 days, Thursday and Friday, we've had dry weather, which gave me the opportunity to pick up on some work that I've been doing for the last several weeks, which is a major project of planting a border of plants along the length of this side of the septic drain field, and then the one over there as well. They're dwarf mondo grass, and I think they'll look very nice once they grow up. But as with a lot of major projects, I realized that as I got into it, that it was going to be a lot more work than I had thought it would be. I needed to have a margin of grassless sand on the outside away from the mondo grass so that lawnmower wheels could go down there and cut the grass over here. So I planted them way too close to the edge of the sand. So I had to go in and cut back all of this grass along here about a foot. And then the same thing over here, and you can even see the work in progress, so to speak. All that dark stuff is soil instead of sand. And that's where the grass was growing. Then you can see here some of the pieces of sod that I cut out and I haven't yet picked up and taken to the green trash. So there's a lot of roots in those pieces of sod, and what I would do is I would knock off the soil from those pieces of sod and put it back in to the area that I had just dug the grass out from, because that's a lot of soil there that got dug out and needed to be replaced. So I'm just about done with that project, and then I can get on with some other things that I want to do, which would be nice. I have many more plants to put in that I got this spring from the native plant nursery up there in Bellingham. And they're just kind of sitting there in their pots, in the pots that I bought them in the nursery, waiting for me to have time to get back to doing some design work, rearranging some of the rocks, taking some plants out that I don't need anymore, and putting in some of the newer plants that are a little bit nicer. So it's a constantly evolving area, and yet it's coming along. This is its second spring, so it had an opportunity to grow all last summer, and then made it through the winter dormancy, and now it's coming back to life. The grasses are all coming up and filling in, which always makes it look a lot better than it would otherwise. Those are two clumps of pennisetum right there, and this is one of those maiden grasses with the white variegation. The beach strawberries have just been fantastic. I put them in last year long after they flowered, so I never got to see them when they were in flower, but there they are. And it's just been a real joy. It's also been an added benefit for my mason bees, which are over here. Because with such a cool, wet spring like we've had, the bees have not been warm enough to really do a lot of work. But nonetheless, they've still been able to start filling in their little canes. They make a little nest back in those canes there, and then when they're finished with the tube, then they seal it off with some mud. And the mud is right there. So it's literally 9 feet from their nest box. So that's been kind of cool. But the problem is that they need food, and it's just been, I've just kind of been waiting for the dandelions to come up, which they finally did do. And they've already all gone to seed now. You can see some of them over there. Right over in that area over there. So the dandelions kind of kept them going until some of the other things could come along, and it turned out that some of those other things were the strawberries, which put out a lot of pollen, and that's one of the things that the mason bees really live on is pollen rather than nectar. So the center of these flowers is just packed with stamens with pollen on them. So see right here. The centers of those flowers are all full of pollen. Anyway, that's what's going on in the septic drain field so far. This is the mint garden that I had to dig up and do some transplanting, and so there's still plenty of extra room now for other things, but lost a few plants over the winter, and others were getting too big and so forth, so it was a renovation. Anyway, well, there goes the cowbirds. Boy, there's a whole flock of them now. It started out with one. But anyway, I'll let this go for now and just sign off at 7 minutes.